Ready?
Yes.
Let's go. Hej och varmt välkomna ska ni vara till ännu ett avsnitt av Fotboll och sånt. Med oss idag har vi Eddy från Next Generation Athlete på Instagram. Och idag kommer vi prata om sakerna som inte berör de 90 minuterna som man spelar på helgen. Utan alla andra pusselbitar som man måste ha på plats för att öka chansen till att bli elitidrottare och i vårt fall kanske närmast fotbollsspelare. Så jag tänker att jag switchar över till engelska. Welcome Eddy to the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here as well.
Good. So Eddy, for the people that doesn't know you, who are you?
I'm just going to make it really short. My name is Edwin, but since from childhood, everyone has called me Eddy from my family, friends. So I go by the name Eddy. I have played football all my life, back all the way from Cameroon, and also when I came to Sweden, I played football as well. But at some point, football wasn't for me anymore. I decided to focus my last decade, at least, in developing athletes, helping athletes. And today, I think the focus is more with young athletes. Yeah.
All right. So when you say that you played football, did you come to Sweden because of football, or was it other purposes?
Well, part of why I came to part of why I came to Sweden was because of football, and then when I came to Sweden, I think I saw another part of me which I thought could be the best version, which is actually helping athletes. And I also noticed in my early days in Sweden that the development part of athletes wasn't so strong. And I felt like I could actually contribute more as far as that part is concerned.
Was it back then Next Generation Athlete came to your mind, or how did that start?
So definitely, when I came to Sweden, I studied in the university. I studied sports science, and then after that, I decided to start with just developing athletes, and then, of course, I was training with a couple of athletes that are already in the performance level. So my company started as a CS Performance, and later on, as the years went by, we kept working with more and more athletes, and then, like I said, we realized that there is a part missing, the development part, because when you're working with older athletes, you can see that sometimes you can see clearly that there is a part of their development which was missed in the early ages. So that's where the focus now shifted a little bit to also put more emphasis to young athletes. And that's why we came up with a small section of the company, which we call the Next Generation Athlete. So that's where the Next Gen Athlete comes from. Yeah.
All right. So if you compare, you said that you saw a potential of developing youth athletes. Was it one big thing that you saw was missing, or was it multiple stuff? If you compare it to
I would say multiple stuff. And like I said, there's a lot of things missing in young athletes today. First of all, it's just, I would say, just being able to understand the fundamentals of using your body. You would be surprised that I sometimes meet athletes or youth athletes of the ages of 15 to 17 who are struggling with coordination.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about just coordinating the body which we use every day. So that's one part which I saw that is really, really missing, the fundamentals, just understanding how you can use your body. And then also the mind as well, the mental part as well, it's super crucial. We know that if you don't train your mind, if you don't train the mental part of it, then there is a gap between
course.
the physical part and the mental part.
Of course.
And then also the strengthening your body to be able to perform. The body which you use to run on the pitch for 90 minutes, it has to be strong enough to withstand the pressure on the 90 minutes. So
Exactly.
so I would say those are the three things that I saw immediately that can be improved. I'm not saying that it wasn't there, but I saw that there is a lot of improvement which we can actually do as far as these three things are concerned.
I'm I was in Gothia Cup in Gothenburg this summer, and the things you're mentioning now is the things that I actually realized was different between the Nordic teams and the African teams. If you took the whole team, I don't remember their names now, but they were really, really good. They played the elite tournament in Gothia Cup. Many thousands of people was watching, so it was a big thing. But the main thing I realized was, wow, it's a huge difference between the players in Africa compared to Sweden.
Yeah.
And that's the coordination, strength,
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you took player for player in the African teams, they all looked and felt similar. Same strength, same kind of speed, same kind of agility. And if you took the Swedish teams and compared them player for player, it was a huge difference. What do you think is... do you agree with that, first of all?
I 100% agree with you.
Good.
Yes.
So then my follow-up question will be, what do you think is the main problem for, or the main reason why it looks like it looks in the Nordic countries?
Going back to one of the points that we talked about, which is just mastering the fundamentals of movement. The difference that I clearly can say based on experience is that growing up in Africa, we actually have a lot of time to play outside. And when I'm talking about playing outside, it could be jumping, it could be running after one another. We have time to use our bodies in different ways.
Yeah.
And in the Nordics, it's not very common to see that. At least back in the days when I speak to some friends, they also tell me that it has changed nowadays, that kids don't play out anymore like it used to be back in the days. So what I would say that the difference here is mainly because growing up in Africa, we actually get enough time to play. We always have some sort of a community where people go out in the evenings and play football. Sometimes, like I said, I remember vividly that I used to compare how how wide I could jump with my friends. We used to do this every day, and I would get really pissed off because there was a friend of mine. Every time he always beat me. And what happens? Later on in the evening, I would go back and try by myself. These are things that you actually train your body without training your body, because you're actually using your body. You actually try to figure it out without knowing that that's what you're doing. And here in the Nordics, we don't get a lot of that. Of course, that's where you see that they have a basis based on just playing around in the community, having fun, using their bodies, jumping around, playing with each other. And then here we don't really do that. We go to school, we come back, we sit on our telephones, we play FIFA. You know what I mean? And that's where one of the differences actually comes from. I would say.
Yeah, and that's based on your experience. So
that's based on my experience. Yes,
truly believe that it's true, and that was also what I was thinking about. But hearing it from you, it's like it gets clearer. So talking about the fundamentals, based on where we live right now and the environment we have with all the phones and the iPads and the televisions. I think it's a huge problem, but I don't believe that we can solve it today in today's episode. But if you had free hands to decide to implement or do stuff or change stuff, what would you do?
I would say that today, like I said, we have very good systems here. We have very, very good football clubs. If you compare it to clubs in Africa, to be honest, even a team here that plays for Division 3, Division 4 would have a better structure than most of the teams that play for Division 1. The difference that I would make is that I will advise the clubs to give a single day to all the kids to go and find a way to do some individual development. Because first of all, you need to help the kids to understand what they're struggling with. Sometimes they go out there, they play a game, maybe they score 10 goals, a very good day, and they feel like, well, if I can score 10 goals, then I don't need to bother. I'm there.
Yeah.
And then of a sudden you have to play against someone who is a little bit faster than you, then you start struggling. So what I would do different today is that I would advise all the clubs, figure out if of course they're in an academy and they really want to, because I know it's different from club to club. Some clubs just want to play football, have fun, go home. That's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're in an academy and you really want to develop players, then they need to have a day where they actually focus on their individual development. You need to help them. You need to find a professional to identify what exactly they need to do to improve. If it's the coordination, if it's the strength, you have to be able to help them. And then you give them a day to actually find someone, a professional, who can actually help them to improve on that. In that way, you actually get the balance here for everyone. You actually reduce this gap that we talked about within different players. But today the problem, or maybe not the problem, I would say that most of what clubs do is play. Everyone, we do this together. Everyone, we do this together. But we forget that we are all different and we all have different challenges when it comes to football.
Of course.
Yeah.
But if it's a good answer, but what I really wanted to hear is if you take, like, what can parents do at home on daily basis when you don't train? Like, what can parents do to improve the movement, to get rid of all these distractions you have that make you to not move? What can you do at home as a parent?
Well, I mean, if you know exactly what you're doing, if you have an idea when it comes to strength training or training, then I would say that at least you have to help your child to get at least an hour every week to get some training. If you know what you're doing, if you don't know and you have the economical means, get someone who can help them to actually get up to speed. That's the easiest advice I would give to parents. Like, if you know what you're doing,
Exactly,
get them to actually do that. But if you don't know, get someone who can actually help them.
of course.
Yeah.
I also truly believe that just basic movement at home, to just say no to the iPads and the televisions, will increase the learning of a kid, like the fundamentals, how to jump, how to run, how to make this normal stuff that I feel is like going downwards.
I 100% agree with you.
The mind. That's a really it's a deep topic.
It is.
How do you work with the mind if you get a client that comes? What I believe is, this is just what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come to you when I struggle with my mind. I come to you to develop my physical parts but how do you locate the mind stuff and help your clients with that?
The first thing, the advantage that we have is that most of our clients they just don't jump in and then jump out. So you get time to be with them 3 months. Within the first 4 weeks, I can already be able to tell if this player or this athlete is maybe lacking when it comes to the mental part. For example, this week they're here on a Monday. Great performance, great session, going out looking sweaty, feeling pumped, looking great. The next week on a Monday, they show up looking like they didn't have enough sleep. And then you ask those basic questions. How was your day? Did you have a bad day in school? No, everything is fine. They had good sleep, they had good food, they had a good day. And then the performance is not the same. There is something which is not consistent in there as far as the training is concerned. So there I can already point out like, okay, with more follow-up questions, which I can't give all of them, of course,
I understand.
then you get to understand like, okay, there is something here which is the lacking part. So so that's at least how I try to figure out that the clients need to get a little bit of that mind training as well.
What kind of advices would you give to I don't want to say a regular kid, everyone is regular kids, but to a kid that like what kind of advices would you give a kid to have a more mental balanced mind?
Set yourself a task every day. It could be as small as making up your bed. Wake up every week, or when in the beginning of the week. On Monday, I'm gonna do this. It could be something which takes 2 seconds.
Okay.
Put it down. I'm gonna do this on Tuesday. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Monday, I'm gonna make sure my bed is made. Tuesday, I'm gonna make sure not to miss my stretching after the session or after practice. Wednesday, I'm gonna make sure that I drink 4 glasses of water. Small tasks which you can actually do, realistic. Just set them for 1 week. See if you can follow them. If it's difficult, go back, set them for 1 day, follow it per day. If it gets better, make it 2 days. If it gets better, make it 3 days. You build a certain level of consistency, which actually filters everything out and put you focusing on the task and not the noise. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I love to hear this kind of stuff. And my follow-up question would be, what does that make with your mind? But you already answered it. Do you maybe have a in real life experience with a client in this kind of stuff?
Yes.
Or if you have,
Yes.
please tell us.
Yes, a lot. So without giving a name, I had this client who was actually very, very at the verge of being kicked out of a very good club here in Malmö. And it was nothing to do with his performance. Fantastic, amazing, fastest in the team. Maybe not the fastest then, but then when we started to work out, I noticed this irregularities, like I said, and I was okay. I started to ask questions, and then we went back to, okay, I need one thing from you. You're gonna go out on a walk after your session today. Take a picture, send to me. It could be 2 minute walk, not more than that. 2 minutes, just go out of the door to the park, take a picture, send to me. We did that for 3 months.
After every session?
Yes. What happened is this guy who was being close to being kicked out actually got a contract. Okay.
Okay.
What happened now is he actually, when he was going to training, he knew exactly, today during training, I'm going to make sure no one gets past me. I'm going to try not to lose the ball. Of course, it's not realistic. You're going to lose the ball, but that's your focus.
Of course.
That's your target. And of a sudden, within a month, it was a complete switch. I mean, a complete switch. He got offered a contract and he got called up for the national team.
Oh.
So it's
goosebumps.
yes, it's facts that actually you can try it. It's difficult. It looks like it's just 1 minute, but trust me, the mind does not want to do anything. So when you actually break that barrier to decide that you're going to do it, even if your mind doesn't want to do it, that's how you build resilience.
And discipline.
And discipline, exactly. So that's like
that was really well explained, and I love to hear this kind of stuff, because there is many talents in the whole world, but I've lived in Sweden, so I take Sweden as an example. There is many talents that has just
disappeared.
and I truly believe that it comes down to the mindset,
It is.
or maybe a parent that wasn't there to support and just be there to ask these simple questions like, how was your training, how was your day, how is that, like, how do you see on this kind of stuff, like what can we do about this supporting in their homes and families?
I would say that a support system is super important. It doesn't matter if you're just growing up, if you're already a full athlete, professional, performing in top leagues and Champions League, whatever. A support system is always important. We know that as well, even just as human beings, you know that some conversations when you have with someone that you really connect with can change your day.
Of course.
That's the same for the kids.
Of course.
So what I would say to parents is it's very important not to, we have a responsibility as parents and coaches to not put pressure on the kids. We need to make them understand and want to do it. Once you implement stuff without making them understand, it becomes really difficult. And unfortunately, like I said, you're a parent, you care about your child, you want the best for them. And sometimes what you're saying actually is good for them, but maybe not at that time. Maybe not too much. Maybe one step behind. And it's a very difficult journey being a parent, I can imagine. And for us coaches, it's a lot easier. We're dealing with a football player in front of us that we're trying to develop. So we have all the skills ready to be able to help them, to guide them. But for a parent, I would say that try to make your kids understand. Try to have conversations with them. Do not implement any stuff. Try to make them understand, you know, this, and sometimes, like I said, break your task down to the simplest task. When you wake up in the morning, just make up your bed. It starts your day, like just in a very simple, friendly tone. And then they start to do it. When they come back, how was training today? I think you did really good. Could be better. You did really good. That's it. Not too much. Don't go into details. Just few words. Make them love it. Sometimes, some days they're gonna even ask you, or they're gonna come to you and say, "Papa, I made up my bed today."
Exactly.
Because they like it, because it's simple, because it's one thing. So I would say it's important for parents to not put too much pressure. On the kids, and also for us coaches to take the responsibility to actually guide. Even the parents, sometimes I speak to them. I go to them, like,
of course,
because sometimes you have a kid, you're training with a kid, and then the parent is standing out there and he's like,
yeah.
And sometimes I just let it go. And then when they're resting, make sure the kid is not watching. I go to the parent. I'm like, don't worry, we got this. Just chill. Don't let him feel a double attention here.
Exactly.
We're here. We know what we're doing. And most of the parents, they know me for that. And now when they come there, they just sit having coffee and we do what we're doing. So
I recognize this because I have 3 sons and they're all playing football, and my oldest son is 9 years old, and now he's come to an age where it's still fun, but it's a little bit more serious, and he's good. His team is good, and they travel to Denmark, to Germany, and the parents, I think, are the biggest, how do you say, the biggest, not threats, but obstacles for developing. So I really I understand what you're saying. And talking about that, with pressure from home and from parents that sometimes want it more than the kids, that comes hand to hand with confidence. How does How do you work with your clients and young athletes or adult athletes with confidence? And what's important with confidence to build a really good confidence?
I think I am a very big fan of making sure that kids can set tasks for themselves.
Yeah.
You know what it means for example, your 9-year-old son to wake up in the morning and maybe let's just say make sure the sofa is looking good in the morning when you wake up. You know what it means for him to be there by himself, trying to figure it out and does something, and then you come out and you say, that was good. That's as small as it looks, seems, sounds. For them, it's like a Champions League trophy. Parents need to understand that. Let your kids make the mistakes. And when you're correcting them, give them a very constructive correction. It's super important. Do not make a big deal out of anything or out of everything. Just make sure that you give them a small task, let them do it. And I experience this with even senior athletes. They come to me, I show an exercise. They struggle with the exercise first session. Second session, when they do the exercise, you can see in their eyes, they are proud. They are really happy that, and then they even have to talk about how it felt, but they didn't show you how it felt when they didn't do it. You just thought, yeah, it's okay. But when they do it now, they start talking. Oh man, I was thinking, God damn, you just did it. It looked so easy. And then I was struggling. Now I got it. And you can really tell, like, okay, that's something. He goes out of the gym with that one step. That translates even on the pitch. You take that with you to the pitch because you already have, it feels like you already have a Champions League hanging on your wardrobe when you go to the pitch because you did something which was a bit more challenging. Now you did it. You're sure that, okay, bring it on. You're a little bit more like, let's get it. So I would say that it's important to actually break your task very small. Let them be able to do it. One small thing. It could just be simple lunges. If they struggle with lunges, just make sure they succeed to do it. Then you see another person in front of you. So
and that builds confidence
a lot.
I can truly see that you're passionate about human beings, about developing. I feel it, and I hope that you also do it. But if you take the business thing away and next generation away and all this stuff that comes with it, what does developing another human being doing to you as a person?
Well, for those that have been to my gym, I always tell them like whenever a client comes in for me, that's like my Champions League. It's like I'm ready for the game. So every client, when you walk out feeling good, that's a Champions League for me. So like you said, keeping the money aside and the business aside, I am the first sibling at home.
Okay.
So I grew up taking care of my younger ones.
Okay.
And for me, it was always like pride, being able to protect them or provide for them.
I understand.
So if they would be in a trouble and I can come in and actually, that's my Champions League. Yeah, okay. You know, so for me, it's super important when I can actually lift people up, when I actually see a step that people take because I supported them. It's super important. And most of the people who've been around me, they know that I am a big fan of progress, trusting the process, taking one step, being confident in that step, business aside, whatever. But I would do a lot more than just coaching my clients. I would go outside. I would text my client late at night before they have a game. Hey, remember what we talked about? You got this. That's not business hours. It's just me caring for a young athlete that needs help, that needs support, that needs to build something. So that does a lot to me, to be honest.
I can tell that. Yeah. Talking about your gym and that kind of stuff, ever since I was a kid, there was a myth. I don't know if it's a myth. You have to correct me. But
yeah,
going to the gym and lift heavy weights when you're a kid, they said you wouldn't get tall. Is that true?
Oh, that's a big lie. Yeah, it's a myth actually. It's a
Okay.
myth. Yeah, but it's super important to train based on your age, based on your load. If you go heavy, unnecessarily, there's a risk of an injury as well.
Of course.
So it's very good. It's very important to find a good balance when you're actually strength training. And of course, that brings us to our next topic, which we're going to talk about today, which is the strength
Exactly.
part. I think strength training is a super important part of every young athlete. It's super important. And I always tell my athletes that, okay, if you're going to be on the pitch for 90 minutes, there are muscles involved here. There is a mind involved here. You need to make sure both are prepared for 90 minutes of running and kicking the ball and jumping. So you need to strengthen them to be able to handle that. And also, one of the biggest advantages of actually doing strength training is you get to avoid or reduce the risk of injury at least. I talk a lot about that, and I've seen it over the years. I've had clients that come to me. They had issues. I remember what I don't know. I don't remember the year exactly, but Bonke Innocent, he used to play for Malmö FF.
Yeah.
I remember one time that we really had like a good pre-season training, and yeah, I always use him as an example because he's one of the first clients that I ever really had to really go into understanding his body, understanding he was quite a muscular guy. I don't know if you remember Bonke Innocent. He played for Malmö.
Yeah, I remember.
He was very muscular, so
Okay.
he had the strength, but how to use the strength
He didn't
was a
know.
problem.
Okay.
So now we had to go back and, okay, take it a step back, try to understand a few things. And I'm telling you, he had a fantastic season. And then after that, that's when he went to France, and the rest is history.
History.
So, yeah.
How if we go downwards, like the age, what can people do at home to make sure that they get better strength and to build up like a good base for the body to develop?
Again, we're going to link now the movement, mastering the fundamentals, and the strength. It's important to combine these two, especially if you don't have a lot of time. Because today, I mean, most of the clubs, they have like a lot of trainings and then games on the weekends, and it's not that easy.
No.
But I would say that at home, just try to take off the screen time from the kids.
Yeah.
If you know how to do a proper lunge, utfallstek på svenska. If you know how to do that, teach your child to do that. If they can do 16 of those every day, okay? If they can do planking, if you know the proper form of a plank without putting a pressure on the spine, teach them how to do that. If you know how to do squats, simple squats, teach them how to do that. These are 3 fundamental exercises which you can, if they do it properly and regularly for a very short amount of time, could be 10, 15 minutes, it can go a long way. If you feel, again, we're going back to now helping them to have some responsibilities, doing small stuff. If you have that time to be able to teach your child how to do that at home, do it. Do it, and I think it could really improve their strength and even reduce the amount of injuries. We have a lot of injuries nowadays with the knee, with the hamstring, and all whatnot. So yeah.
When you said injuries, and I started thinking about if you're not as good as you are in this topic, then you hear stuff, and then you believe in that kind of stuff, and then you hear the opposite, and you're like, I believe in this as well. And what many people are talking about is, don't let your kids play too much football. Make them combine stuff for their development. That sounds good, okay? And I truly believe that it's good. And then you see the kids. I know I have a couple of examples of my oldest son's friends. They train almost every day. After practice with the team, 40 minutes. Before practice, 30 minutes. What does that do to that kid? What's right? What's wrong? Understand my question?
Yeah. Again, this is a very, very sensitive topic because there is no right or wrong, unfortunately or fortunately. I would say, of course, it's about what type of training are they doing. If it's just swimming, which is different from the ordinary football, then, well, maybe it's good. But every day, that's a question. Is that good? I don't know. I don't think so.
But when we say is not good, what do we actually mean?
We're
Like good for the mental part, that the kid doesn't get not allowed, but the time to play with other kids and jump and go to the playground. Do we talk about that stuff, or do we talk about the development of the body, or what are we actually talking about?
We're talking about being very careful not to overload.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you overload, it's going to break. So when you load carefully and with some thought behind it, then it's going to get stronger. But if you just load 30 minutes before the training session, you're playing football, you go again and play football for another 1.5 hours, and then after that you go for another. That's too much. Even professionals don't do that. Even high up there, those who play Champions League, we don't do that. So we're now looking at what type of training are they doing before. Okay, let's say they're going to go play football, and then before that they do like maybe some push-ups, some stuff with the arms, posture training, a little bit, 15-20 minutes. Then they go play football. That is still training, and that is still training, but the load here is different.
I understand.
So it's for me, when I talk about this type of topics, it's more about be careful not to overload. If you know what you're doing, do it. If you don't know, find someone who can help you, or at least just teach you, and then you can go do it. Because of course, getting someone to follow up your son and coach them and train them, sometimes it comes with time and economical challenges, which we understand. But if you really want that, there's a solution to every problem.
Of course.
So it's good to just find the right solution. If you want your child to train, find someone who can help you to balance the train, so it doesn't become an overload.
That's a really good question, actually. Answer. And if we focus a little bit about you and your gym, what's the most challenging part of being you today with your gym and your clients and everything around?
Yeah. First of all, I also have another job. So that's the first challenge, 9 to 5 job, which I have to show up, I have to perform. Sometimes, of course, you get a tough day at work.
Of course.
But the good thing is, I realized from early on that this is for me, this is my I love this. Whenever I leave from there, going to my clients is like, oh, finally, I'm going to what I love to do. So the challenge I would say here is that physical and mental challenge, maybe from my other job, that when I come, I'm a little bit tired, but as soon as my clients get in, I feel like, oh, I get a boost again.
Exactly.
And then the other challenge again is that when you're working with kids, you need time. And sometimes parents think that you just go in, get one session,
and then everything
you go out and you're Maradona. Or you go out and you're Zlatan. It doesn't work like that.
No.
So you get that challenge between pressure from the parents, and sometimes it's because they just don't have the money to keep coming here, and they like it, but they want results. So you find yourself trying to explain to the parents, like, this is a process, this is something that takes time. And even to the kids, sometimes you have to learn to know them. You have to make sure that I go as far as asking my young athletes, like, who is your favorite player? Who is your favorite team? I want to know a certain personal part of their life, which we can, when they're having a bad day, we can touch that topic, like, oh, did you watch the game yesterday? And stuff like that.
Exactly.
So the challenge here is to meet everyone where they are. it's really challenging. It doesn't work like that, but
I understand.
you have to do it as a coach. That's a responsibility you sign up for.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what's your long-term vision with next generation athlete and sales performance?
I would say that to help at least every athlete. I hope that we can get to a point where we can partnership with every football club in, let's start with Malmö. That will be really good. So we're trying now to get a good team of more people, because I can't do everything by myself. I have other good people around me that we're trying to find a good way in which we can start to expand. And now we're moving from where we are to a bigger location. And now we'll put that as well. I will maybe inform you, and maybe we can do another episode there sometimes in the future.
Of course.
So we're already taking one step to the future, which is like getting a bigger space, because we want to be able to do even like football movements with some football indoors, because we have the challenge of the cold winters with snow on the pitches, and sometimes you can't train. So our new location will have like 200 meters square grass, artificial grass,
Nice.
where we can actually do a few stuff, and then we will have like a lot of space for the strength training, explosive training, and all the other fundamental stuff that we talked about.
And where is that located?
It's in back.
Okay. Okay.
So the goal is to go there for now, be there for a while, and then if we get to expand and more people get to understand that what we're doing is valuable for the kids, and more people start coming, then of course maybe we will find a bigger location.
Maybe. I hope so. And if you could give 3 tips for young athletes, what would that be?
Set up a task every day and do it. It doesn't matter. You could have a younger sister. You say, tomorrow I'm going to make sure my younger sister's shoes is well cleaned and put in the corner. Or I'm going to make sure that my wardrobe is looking in a good shape tomorrow, or this week at least. I'm going to make up my bed tomorrow morning. I must make up my bed. When I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to do 2 stretches for myself. That's very important. Setting up small tasks and actually doing it. Make sure it's very small as 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's number 1.
And number 2?
Number 2 is be very coachable. You don't know everything. You might know a lot from very, very smart parents who are around you talking about so many things, but you don't know everything. Be very coachable. Be the type of person that would want to listen and learn and grow. It's very important. And of course, when you're 10 years old, maybe it doesn't even make sense to you. Like, what does that even mean? But I think we have a responsibility as well as parents to make sure to explain to them, like, when someone is talking, you listen, because then you can learn something, or not trying to talk at the same time. Like, it's just
small stuff.
Yes, small stuff. Yeah.
And your last?
Last one would be to the parents. Do not put any pressure on the kids. Let them have fun, but also make sure that it's not too much fun and not too much pressure. It's difficult to find that balance, but if you find it important for the kids, if you think it's important for them to develop, then get the right help. Invest in that. It's super important, because it's going to go a long way. Even if they become a football player or not, they build a certain foundation that can take them a long way throughout life.
Of course.
Yeah.
Eddy?
Yes.
I think that we wrap it up with these words.
Yes.
It was a pleasure having you on this podcast and this episode of Fotboll och Sånt. I hope that everything goes your way, and I will link all your contact information in the episode.
Yes, thank you.
And once again, thank you so much for joining.
It's my pleasure joining. Thank you for having me.
You. Och till er som tittar, dela, prenumerera och följ kanalen. Jag kommer även länka Eddys kanal här, eller Instagram-konto på YouTube och alla sociala medier. Och ännu en gång, tack för att ni tittade. På återseende. Ciao!